a Southern breakfast, watching baseball from a rooftop bar, and mac and cheese as a vegetable. This week, we're in South Carolina and Alabama with Darley Newman.
Traveling the world to bring you delicious dishes, tasty beverages, and interesting experiences. This is the Destination Eat Drink Podcast on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
I'm Brent Peterson. Welcome to Destination Eat Drink, the travel podcast for foodies, because the best part of any trip is what you eat. And this week, it's award-winning TV host and producer Darley Newman from the TV show Travels with Darley. Darley's an Emmy Award-winning TV host and producer. Her show, Travels with Darley, is in its 13th season. You can watch episodes now on your local PBS station. Darley tells me about the impact of PBS being defunded and the great food she featured on the latest season of her show, like hush puppies, barbecue, meat and three, plus beer at a repurposed gas station, and knock you naked margaritas. And I'm starving, so let's eat.
Destination Eat Drink.
Darley Newman from Travels with Darley. Welcome back to Destination Eat Drink. I always enjoy our conversations, and congratulations on the new season of Travels with Darley, too.
Thank you, Brent. I know it's a landmark one. It's about to be even more landmark. We just completed our 96th half hour.
Wow.
So
I was just thinking.
Next year, we're going to hit 100.
Hit the century mark. I was just thinking 13 seasons, and you know, I've known about you since even before you were doing Travels with Darley. You had this great show on PBS called Equitrekking, which I loved as well. So you've done well over 100 episodes of TV on PBS. I wanted to open this conversation talking about PBS because it's been in the news lately. The government has defunded PBS, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting has dissolved. It is no more. My question to you is, as an independent producer, folks may not know this, but folks who make these shows like you do on PBS are independent producers. You're not an employee of PBS. What kind of impact does that have on you and your show?
Well, I mean, it's not great for anybody, in all honesty. I mean, we all need more funding to do better projects.
Sure.
But for most of the shows that are on PBS stations and public television actually are produced independently. And like everything else, they're all kind of fundraised for. So, you know, for years, I've done my own fundraising, and I have sponsors that I work with who support our efforts to make these shows happen. Just like you see those messages, and we put the messages at the beginning and end of the episodes. This was, you know, made with the help of or the support of. So that's something that stays, you know, continues. So for me, it personally didn't change that much. But of course, you know, now the stations are fundraising themselves even more. So it's just a different time in the media landscape in general. I mean, not just with PBS and public television, but with the advent of like so many streamers and fast channels, it's a tumultuous media time.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this since 2007, so I always figure out a way to continue to make things happen.
Yeah, almost 20 years now for you. So you're a pro at this. Do you feel the need to expand into other media streams like YouTube and podcasting and things of that nature?
Yeah, so I have, and I'm going to continue that. Our shows are now in flight on Korean Airlines as of this past year, Starlux, WestJet. So I'm doing a lot expanded distribution. They're on Tubi, they're on Great Courses, which is a subscription place, Amazon Prime. And I'm building the YouTube channel. So, and I have a podcast with iHeart that's on a bunch of platforms. So Spotify and Apple. So yeah, of course, trying to put the content wherever people want to consume it, because that's the modern way. And I think it's interesting. It's an industry where it's kind of there's all these different outlets, but it'll consolidate back and then it'll go back again. It's kind of like a yo-yo.
An accordion.
So, but an accordion. But I think being just kind of riding the wave as I've done. I mean, a few years ago, I did a lot of short content when short was starting before we even had social media. And I worked with AOL back in the day and
Wow.
Verizon Digital. I know, right? So, and I've seen partners come and go. But the crux of it all, I think if you make good content and people want to see your stuff, they'll find it. You just have to put it in places where they can find it. So that's what I'll continue to do. But public television is still strong and still has such a great viewing audience and is so accessible to people. So it's great to continue with another season on PBS stations.
You visited so many great places in this latest season. I want to start by talking about South Carolina because you grew up in South Carolina. I lived there briefly in Charleston. Didn't last as long as we wanted it to, but we loved our time there. Can you tell me what it was like revisiting some of these places that you remember from your childhood?
It was awesome. Honestly, if you watch my Myrtle Beach episode, which is called Myrtle Beach Homecoming, it's funny because I'd go back to Myrtle Beach frequently. I'm from there. But when you look at it from a travel perspective, you look at things differently. Like, oh, what would I want to do if I were visiting the beach? But it's funny because a lot of the things that I would want to do are places and visiting places that I went as a child. So Brook Green Gardens is absolutely beautiful. It's still there. As a child, I went to see the Carolina Opry. That's still happening. It sounds cheesy, but I love a good mini golf. And like those have definitely not left Myrtle Beach. You can still mini golf almost like every other, you're driving a little bit, another mini golf course.
Nothing
But I
wrong
love
with
those
that.
choices. No, and restaurants are still there that have been there forever. So I really liked going home. And then there's new things too. They've gotten very outspoken and progressive about welcoming families with autism, which we covered in the episode. And so we looked at places too that are going out of their way to be more welcoming. And I thought that was actually really a great thing to showcase because accessibility is a point that we're making in this new season. And it is good for everybody. And you may not think it's good for you, but you go to these places and you're like, oh, that was helpful to me as well. So there's different. And we're learning so much as we do these episodes, including in North Alabama, where we looked at accessibility, wheelchair-friendly spaces and places. So it was great to go home, though. But at the end of the episode, I was back at Brook Green Gardens, and it did make me sad to leave. I was like, oh, I do love Myrtle Beach.
There's something about that, it's so funny because whenever we go back to the States, we always go, well, most of the time we go to Rhode Island, which is where Karen is from. And I lived for many, many years, but we also go to Chicago, and my best friend, him and his wife and his kids, they moved to the town where I grew up in. Like they had no ties to it. And so now whenever I go back to Chicago, I stay with them. And it's so funny because it's like, I remember, oh, that's the place where XYZ, it's like, that's the place where this was, or this used to be a cornfield 50 years ago. And I'm sure they roll their eyes at me, but they indulge me a little bit on that. So it's so much fun to go back and relive your old times. We talk about food and drink here. So when you were growing up in South Carolina, I'll bet you had quite a different culinary experience than I did as a kid in the Midwest. What were some of your favorite dishes growing up in South Carolina?
Well, I do love a good Southern breakfast. And Myrtle Beach has a lot of amazing pancake houses and breakfast places. So I actually went to one that is owned by a woman who's a big advocate for being autism friendly, and that's Johnny D's, where they're known for their eggs Benedict and their waffles. It's delicious. I had gone visiting during the holidays in December, and then I was like, I have to put this in the episode, even though this exact place wasn't here when I was a kid. So that was at the top of my list. Sea Captain's House is a place that's been around since I was a child, and it's a mainstay. If you're going to Myrtle Beach, it's right on the ocean. It's in an old home, and you go in there and you have to get the hush puppies. They're delicious. You have to eat a hush puppy, and they have this honey butter. I had it with this she crab soup, which has this, lump crab meat in it. And it's really nice to sit by the ocean, try to get, a spot by the window if you can, because it's really, and there you can see the ocean from many places within Sea Captain's house, but it has that kind of retro feel when you're there, kind of cozy, nostalgic, but you've also got ocean views, really great seafood. So and it's not far from the boardwalk. So I would say go there, maybe take a walk on the beach, go on the boardwalk and get a little nostalgic, maybe go and, play some skee ball.
Skee ball. Fun.
It is fun.
It is fun. Yeah, it is. You get when it spits out those tickets, man. That's one of the great highlights of being a kid. Oh, I won a water pistol or some. For folks who don't know, what are hush puppies and what makes a good one?
Hush puppies it's like a fried cornmeal ball, and it's supposed to be crispy on the outside and warm and soft on the inside when you get it. They are often served with like barbecue dishes or seafood dishes. They are, all over the South. If you're going down south, we had them in Alabama at several places as well. Big Bog Gibson's Barbecue, Greenbrier Restaurant, where they have great catfish. Some people put spices in them. At Old Greenbrier, it was so funny because the guy who owns it, Jerry Evans, was talking to me, and I said, "What's in your recipe?" And he said, "Well, we put a lot of onions, and there's a lot of crying in the back as we make these hush puppies."
Nice.
And if you go back to our Charleston, one of our previous Charleston episodes as well, we have hush puppies in there from an oyster place in Charleston. And there are lots of different legends and stories about how hush puppies came to be. But you'll hear about that if you go back on those episodes as well. But I love hush puppies. They're delicious.
I can just eat them by themselves. I don't care. Were your parents from the South? Did your mom, was she cooking like this when you were growing up?
So my mom is from Washington, D.C., so I guess that's controversial. Is it South? Is it not South? It's Mid-Atlantic.
Right.
But my grandmother had moved down there, and that's why we ended up going down as she was getting older in her age. And I don't know, so she wasn't from the South, but definitely did a lot of Southern cooking in our house as well. Butter was a big friend of the family.
Right.
It's not the healthiest, but
but it's sure is tasty, man.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying this episode, please rate and review Destination Eat Drink on your podcast app. Your 5-star rating helps other foodie travelers just like you find the show, and thank you very much. I want to talk about another place you went to called Wade's Restaurant, because you got something called the Meat and Three. And until I moved to South Carolina, I'd never heard of Meat and Three. So could you explain to folks what Meat and Three is like, and how did you like yours at Wade's?
Wade's is really good. If you go, it's in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is an area called the Upcountry. So it's the upper part of the state. And we were just filming there for another edition of our Revolutionary Road Trip episodes, where we do American Revolution sights and stories mixed with travel. But of course, when you're traveling anywhere, you have to eat good food. And we were fortunate to be able to get into Wade's in general. I mean, it's so busy in there. They have a takeout division and a regular restaurant, and there are lines to get in that place. So you just got to go and wait. But I really liked Wade's. I sat down with Anna Lyles, and it's her grandparents that founded Wade's. It dates back to the 1940s. Yeah, it was originally in a little grocery store, and just a family-oriented, family-run place. It's funny because Meat and Three is really a classic meal. You get your choice of a meat, and then you get 3 vegetables or 3 sides. And, your side doesn't have to be a vegetable. They have a funny neon sign in there that says, like, eat your veggies. They try to promote eating those vegetables, but they make those vegetables so good there. So they have Thanksgiving all year round. So you can go in there and have a traditional Thanksgiving meal, turkey with dressing and cranberry. Of course, I had to get the mac and cheese because that's one of my favorite dishes. And they have these yeast rolls. They come right out of the oven. They're hot. I went back in the kitchen and was able to see them making all this stuff and putting and plating it. and it's quite an operation. This is, James Beard Award winning. It won the America Classics Awards, which means you go in there and you're getting a classic meat and three meal. And this is very Southern. It's like it's a square balanced meal. I wish, honestly, I could have a Wade's. I told Anna, I said, could you bring Wade's to New York City? Because I would be going there all the time
Yeah, no doubt.
to get dinner.
But I love how they include mac and cheese as one of the vegetables. It's like
I know.
so good.
Delicious.
Another cool place I wanted to talk about that I saw on the show that I really liked was Rick Irwin's Level 10. Rick Irwin is I don't know, he's got a bunch of places, I guess, right? But this place called Level 10 that you went to looked really interesting. What can you tell us about that visit?
That's fun because if you like sports, or if anyone in your group does, you can go. It's the rooftop of the AC Hotel in again downtown Spartanburg. So you could do a walk downtown. There's a cool Hub City bookstore. There's an American Revolution related statue right in the center of town. So you could do a little walk thing and then go over to this hotel and catch a baseball game. It's right near the stadium and you can see the game being played from the rooftop, which I think is fun. They make really good craft cocktails. That's what they're kind of known for. So it's kind of an upscale sporting experience, I would say, there, Rick Irwin's.
Fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. I love the name of their baseball team. It's the Hub City Spartanburgers.
Spartanburgers,
So I guess
I know. Yes.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah,
So I guess
funny.
if you want to complete it, I guess you could have a burger or something if you wanted to complete it. But it was a fun experience, and I do like to see local sports when I'm traveling, and a lot of people do like to see sporting things. So and it's funny because the next morning we went to a coffee shop that was affiliated with the Hub City, right beside the Hub City bookstore. And there were all these runners. And I thought, oh my gosh, people are so healthy in this area. So I guess they're eating that meat and three and then they're going to go run.
So when you do your Rhode Island episode, I'm going to give a little shout out to Rhode Island when you talk about sporting events, because in Newport, Rhode Island, a place that I worked for many years, they have one of these college wooden bat leagues. And in the summertime, college kids come and they have several teams dotted throughout the region. And one of them is the Newport Gulls. And what happens is these college kids come, they play baseball, but they stay with the local family. And during the day, they have like courses, like classes, camps for kids to learn how to play baseball. And then at night, they play the games. There is a restaurant and bar that is literally on the third base line. Like, you don't go into the stadium, you go into the restaurant, you go into the back, and you're sitting in the outfield, not in the outfield, but right on the foul line of the outfield. And you can watch the game while you're having a beer and eating your meal. It's an incredible experience, but it only seats, 6, 8, 10 people, maybe max. So you got to get there nice and early, but it's a fantastic experience. So when you go to Rhode Island, Darley, that's something that hopefully they're still able to do. I haven't lived in Rhode Island in quite a while.
I love it. That's so fun. Yeah. I mean, it's really awesome to be able to eat good things as you're traveling.
That's right.
And also to go where the locals go. It's fun. Over the weekend, I went to Union, New Jersey, because that's also in this season. It's a Revolutionary Road Trip episode. But people were watching the episode and we're seeing Boxwood Hall, which is a state historic site. We have, all these famous past people have gone to these places. And then in the episode, I also take you to go eat hot dogs at the Galloping Hill Inn with George Thomas, who's 95 years old, and he's been running this place for over 40 years, eating a lot of hot dogs.
Hot dogs must be healthy, George.
That's what I said. The audience reaction, it was so funny because I said, wow, that was the most popular part of this episode, was the hot dog segment.
Yeah, and with a hot dog, you got to have a good beer. And you always enjoy having a good beer. Before we leave South Carolina, let's talk about some of the beers that you had while you were there, the SO Club and the Back 40 Brewing.
Yeah, so SO Club is also up in Clemson. So Clemson, you obviously probably heard of Clemson University and
Sure.
their famous football. But that was really fun because I like being on university campuses and in those areas. It's just, there's an excitement being there. So Dr. Otis Pickett is in that episode with me. I kind of toured around with a professor who also he graduated from Clemson. So he had a lot of great insider information and took me to these great historic stops. And then another historic stop, maybe not from revolutionary times, but definitely with kind of revolutionary beer, is Esso Club. And everybody goes to that place at some point, probably if they're at Clemson, but also during the baseball games, they'll definitely be there. And you can go around, there's like sporting memorabilia throughout the Esso Club. And it's a great place. We had lunch there. And of course, you have to get a beer when you're there. So
Sure.
you can toast the sports icons, but it's in a former gas station. And it's also a place, it was one of the first places in South Carolina after Prohibition that would serve beer. So it just has a fun backstory, and it's an iconic place to go if you're in the Clemson area. So I would definitely recommend that as another place to, and it's so funny you said that, because I keep meeting people as I'm traveling around, and they love that we do the local food and drinks in the episode.
Yes. I know when I watch your show, I know I'm going to find out where to get a good beer. It's always a fact that Darley's going to enjoy a nice beer, and go to a college campus. You're going to find beer. That's for darn sure. What about Back 40 Brewing?
It's so funny because Back 40, definitely would recommend it. They have a few locations in Alabama.
Oh,
we were
okay.
in North Alabama. So I actually was able to go to Back 40 in a previous episode I did in Alabama at the Birmingham location, which is located beside train tracks. So you could sit inside or outside, but trains are constantly rolling through. So I thought that was kind of fun because it's a train spotting place. But we went to the Outpost, which was the original Back 40 on this trip, which is in Gadsden. It's a small town in North Alabama. I thought Gadsden was really quaint and cute when we got there. They have an old theater with a marquee, and they had Welcome Travels with Darley on it.
Oh, cool.
I was like, this is so cute. But they have award-winning beers. They're known for their beer, but they're also known for their pizza. So this Back 40 in Gadsden, they have these English brown ales, and of course they have all the styles of wheat beers that you would want to have, but they have really just distinctive beers that you can only find, some of them in Alabama. And then also it's just another locally loved place to go. And that Outpost is also accessible. So if you have a family member with some mobility challenges, it's wheelchair friendly. You can wheel right in. And there are multiple spaces inside and outside to enjoy. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's also housed in a historic building. So we like to find places that have adaptive reuse. I just think it's very cool when buildings can be saved that tell a story. And when you can sit somewhere and have a beer, have a pizza, whatever you're having, and you're looking around and there's so much history to discover just by observing. So that's pretty cool.
There's much more food and travel at destinationeatdrink.com. I just posted a new video with the best Lebanese food on the French Riviera. I know you normally don't associate Lebanese food with this part of France, but there's plenty of great places, and you can see all the deliciousness by clicking on the video tab at destinationeatdrink.com or go to my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@destinationeatdrink946. There's also a new story on the site. It's about a fisherman's drink from a little town in Italy. It's a coffee and liqueur drink, and it looks great and tastes great too. Read all about that at destinationeatdrink.com/blog. And my latest food and travel guide is out. It's to L'Aquila, a city in the mountains of Abruzzo that's bouncing back from a devastating earthquake 10 years ago. There's some of the best Torrone you've ever had, a cocktail that might be better than a Negroni, and 99 fountains. You can download the L'Aquila ebook or any of the dozens of other food and travel guides at buymeacoffee.com/destinationeatdrink. North Alabama, you did a couple episodes there. I guess if we're in Alabama, we got to have some barbecue. What about Big Bob Gibson Barbecue? You looked like you had some fun there.
Delicious. It was delicious. It's they say they're one of the oldest barbecue restaurants in the USA. And it's another staple. They are known for their barbecue, of course, but they have a white sauce. And I'm a big vinegar-based barbecue lover, so I wasn't sure about this white sauce. But it was tangy, it's peppery. I don't know all the exact ingredients because a lot of these places, they have their secret recipes.
Right.
But it was delicious. But the thing is, like, I would tell you, if you're going to Big Bob Gibson's, try to get there early, because we got there on the later end and we got almost everything we wanted, because we actually called and we were like, can you please save us a plate? Because they sell out. Like, a lot of these places, they literally will sell out of what they have. So if you're going there, yeah, definitely get there early.
Plan ahead.
Plan ahead
is the moral of that story. You did how many episodes on this season, Darley? 11?
Yes, this season has 11 episodes. Each and every episode has food and drink experiences intertwined, because, again, you got to eat when you're traveling.
My thing is, it's the best part of vacation. You know, I spend an inordinate amount of time where we're going, what we're going to eat, what we're going to try and find when we're there, you know, and then, oh, well, there's a Michelangelo painting too. And what are we going to have for lunch? You know, it's like,
yeah. Yep.
What other food experiences did you have on this season?
We have a couple of episodes from Mississippi where there is very good food. And we did the Natchez Trace Parkway, which is a national park driving route. And again, it's a national park driving route, but you go through different towns and cities along the way, like Natchez, where you have to get tamales. They're known it's a river town. There's a river town history. And they have these tamales at Fat Mama's, family owned for a very long time, and Knock You Naked margaritas, which are strong. I only sipped mine because it was lunchtime, but very, very tasty. And then again, a quick and easy meal that could be transported for people traveling and working along these riverways. Got the great Mississippi River there. So that was cool. We went to Under the Hill, where there's Under the Hill Saloon. This is a place you have to stop and have a beer. And there's an elephant in the back. It's said to bring good luck if you sit on top of it and have a beer, which I did.
Of course.
And you have to kind of climb on top of it. This place is very old school feeling, cool dollar bills and money on the ceiling. And it's Under the Hill, which was reputed to be the part of Natchez which had a storied past with all things bad and brothely.
Of course.
Which is fun. Of course, is fun.
Like all good river towns, you know, there's kind of an underbelly to it of stuff like that. That's awesome.
I mean, we were everywhere from North Dakota to New Jersey to Pennsylvania in this eating and drinking at Gettysburg, the Dobbin House, been around since 1776, Colonial Tavern, very cool. North Dakota, I went for my second time to Widman's Candy in Grand Forks to eat chocolate chippers. And I've gone twice and brought them back for my neighbors, and they're obsessed with them.
What are chocolate
I'm obsessed
chippers?
with them. Chocolate covered potato chips.
Hey man, salty and sweet. It's the greatest.
Delicious. And that's a family-owned place as well. I love the family-owned small businesses that have stood the test of time. That's one of them. So we have many, many more in this season. New Orleans, of course. Amazing.
My
food.
favorite.
We went to iconic Commander's Palace, which now has a female executive chef. So that's delicious. And even we were outside of New York in Union, but also in Hudson and the Meadowlands. So that was very cool. Bangladeshi cuisine, which was my first experience with that, actually. Cry Kitchen, mother-daughter own this place. They make home-style Bangladeshi dishes, and they have been nominated for a James Beard Award. So awesome food and drinks in this season of Travels with Darley.
So great. Well, congratulations on your 13th season. I know you're just finishing up season 13, but if I know you, you've got things on the burner that you're thinking about. Anything you want to share with us for what may be a season 14 or what you're, just thinking about right now?
We are. So, we're going to continue our American Revolution sites and stories theme because it's been really great. And though we're coming up on the 250th, commemorations of the founding of the U.S., there are revolutionary stories that extended well beyond that. So we're going to continue covering that. I do have a book coming out this summer.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah. And I've not even told anyone about it yet. So you're the first.
Breaking news.
But it's, I'm excited. It'll launch in June 30th, American Revolution Sites and Stories, Revolutionary Road Trip. So it's very immersive and it gives you a lot of detail and really immerses you, narrative nonfiction, in these places. And a lot of the stories we've found, and the reason I did the book was they're not published yet. They haven't been out there because people don't understand about history, or they don't know maybe that we're constantly discovering new information. It's wild, the things that are uncovered in people's attics and in the archives. So you'll get to see some of that. But so season 14, we're looking at that, as well as more great road trips and probably some presidential themes in this upcoming season, which I'm excited about. And of course, great national parks. We love to go to the national parks.
Sure. And find food along the way.
Yes.
So congratulations on that. I can't wait to read the book. That sounds so exciting. I'm so glad that you're getting into this Revolutionary War history and Revolutionary Trail. It's so cool, and it's always so interesting, the stuff that you uncover. If folks want more information, they can go to darley-newman.com for more about Travels with Darley. And as always, just a pleasure to talk with you, Darley. It's always so much fun and so informative. Thanks for being on the podcast again.
Thank you, Brent. And I love your passion for food and drinks. I share it. I can't wait to toast you in person coming up at some point.
I hope we get to do it soon in Lisbon. We'll say Saúde over a ginginha.
Ooh, sounds tasty. Sounds strong.
Okay, there you go. Darley and I always have such great conversations. I love having her on the show, and I can't wait for her book. You can watch season 13 of Travels with Darley on PBS and get more from her at darley-newman.com. And if you want to hear more from Darley, become a member of my Substack. We talk about the unclaimed baggage center and the crazy and valuable stuff people leave behind on planes. Sign up to be a member at destinationeatdrink.substack.com. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, we're in Naples, Chicago, and New York City for some of the best pizza in the world. Don't miss that. Subscribe to make sure it downloads automatically to your device. Destination Eat Drink is distributed by the Radio Misfits Podcast Network and Ed Silla. Thanks, Ed. I'm Brent Peterson, and I'll see you down the road.
Join us next week for another culinary adventure on Destination Eat Drink, a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.